surrender to Krishna with Brahma Nishta, Iswara Nishta, Bhagavan Nishta, where Brahma Bhuta platform, Brahman realization, then further is Paramatma realization, then Bhagavan realization, and then the last section, 67, 78, conclusion. So in this way, this chapter 18 is laid out, basically Karma Yoga to Jnana Yoga to Bhakti, and then concluding, basically. So that now let's look at, when we look at deeply in this 13th verse, where it is Krishna is stressing on this point of, what is that, 13th verse? Yeah, oh mighty on Arjuna, according to the Vedanta, there are 5 causes for accomplishment of all action. Now learn of this from me. So why is he speaking of this 5 causes of action? And the next verse, obviously, Krishna is speaking where he is mentioning Adhisthanam Tata Karta Karanam Cha Pratak Vidam Pratak Chesta Daivam Evatra Vividascha Pratak Chesta Daivam Evatra Panchama. The place of action, which is nothing but a body, and then the worker, the soul, and then instrument, the senses, Pratak Vidam, different kinds of endeavors. But the ultimate cause is, all these are not the main cause. Ultimate cause is the Supreme Lord. If Supreme Lord is not willing, then however we may try, you may have best wonderful place for business to open, you have best people in the world, and you have money, everything you have, and you have great, you endeavored greatly to put together wonderful business. But if Krishna is not willing, it's not going to work. So that's why Krishna must be, that is the prime factor out of these 5. So that means we are not the doer. We may endeavor for it, but we should not have this doership mentality. We should not have that false ego. Because of me, I got this result. Because of me, I'm able to do this. So no, without the intervention, without the mercy of the Supreme Lord, we can't do any activity. That means it is because of the ignorance. That's why clearly Srimad Bhagavatam talking about, one must give up this and develop love. Right now, we have natural love for others, but the love must be placed in Supreme Lord Shri Krishna. Until that point, until you love Krishna, there is no way we can deliver ourselves. The Loshadev is instructing his sons, Evam mana karma vasan prayunkte avidya atmana upadiyamane. Because of the gross ignorance, Pritirna yavat mai vasudeve na muchyate deha yogyana tavat. Until we develop love for Krishna, there is no way we can get out from this material world. You can do whatever you want, but there is no possibility. When the living entity is covered by the mode of ignorance, he does not understand the individual living being and the supreme living being, because his mind is subjugated by fruitive activity. Therefore, until one has love for Lord Vasudeva, who is none other than myself, this is Lord Vasudeva speaking, because it's non-different, Lord Vishnu, is certainly not delivered from having to accept a material body again and again. Now, the question may arise, how will you develop love? Pritirma yavat mai vasudeve. So until you develop this, then there is no way. You keep repeating births, and human birth itself is not guaranteed. If you don't perform Bhagavad Arpita Nishkam Karma, Bhakti Yoga, there is no way you will get human birth. There is no guarantee. But if one is performing Bhakti Yoga, then at least the guarantee is there. Suchanam Srimatam Gehe Yoga Prastha Vijayate in the 6th chapter, 45th verse or so. Now we have to look at Narada Muni is instructing on this point, how the living entity is being conditioned. He is thinking that a man may carry a burden on his head. When he feels it to be heavy, too heavy, he sometimes gives relief to his head by putting a burden on his shoulder. In this way, he tries to relieve himself of the burden. Sometimes we will feel, oh, it's too much, too difficult. Let me go for some vacation. Or so let me take this intoxicant. Or let me go here and watch this. We feel some, some lamentation or something is there, some relief we are getting. We are thinking we are changing from one to another, but we are thinking this is going to solve the problem. But neither of them is solving the problem. So that's Narada Muni is giving this example. In this way, it's trying to relieve himself of the burden. However, whatever process he devises to counteract the burden does nothing more than putting the same burden from one place to another. So you who are free from all sinful act, no one can counteract the effects of fruitive activity simply by manufacturing a different activity devoid of Krishna consciousness. All such activity is due to our ignorance. When we have troublesome dream, we cannot relieve it with a troublesome hallucination. One can contract a dream only by waking. Similarly, our material existence is due to our ignorance and illusion. Unless we awaken to Krishna consciousness, we cannot be relieved of such dreams. For the ultimate solution to all problems, we must awaken to Krishna consciousness. Now, how will you awaken? Nardaman is speaking. Sometimes we suffer because we see a tiger in a dream or a snake in a vision, but actually there is neither a tiger nor a snake. Thus, we create some situation in a subtle form. This is a subtle body, mind, intelligence, false ego, and suffer the consequences. These sufferings cannot be mitigated unless we are awakened from our dream. Same way, the real interest of the living entity is to get out of the nescience that causes him to endure repeated birth and death. The only remedy, this is important, the only remedy is to surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead through his representative. Unless one renders devotion service unto Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva, one cannot possibly become completely detached from this material world, nor can be possibly manifest real knowledge. This point is very clear. This is Narada Muni, Vyasdev's son. So, Vyasdev's spiritual master, Lord Brahma's son, a great spiritual master of Dhruva Maharaj and Valmiki Muni, and so many disciples, wonderful disciples. Further is instructing, oh best of the king, one who is faithful, who is always hearing the glories of Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is always engaged in the culture of Krishna consciousness and in hearing the Lord's activities, what will happen? Very soon becomes eligible to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead face to face. Anybody here want to see the Lord face to face? Then we must follow. So achirad eva rajarshe syad achyuta katashraya srinvata shraddadhanasya nityada syad adiyatha. There is utmost attention we must pay to hear the glories of Supreme Lord. Among whom and where you should hear. Yatra bhagavata rajan sadavo vishada ashraya bhagavad gunan katana sravana vyagra chetasa tasmin mahan mukarita Mahodbadita Charitra Piyosha Sesha Sarita Parita Sravanti Te Ye Pibanti Avrusho Nrapagada Karnai Tanna Sprasanti Asana Tat Brutya Bayasoka Moha Tat Bayasoka Moha. My dear king, in the place where pure devotees live, following the rules and regulations, and thus purely conscious and engaged with great eagerness in hearing and chanting the glories of Supreme Personality of Godhead, in that place, if one gets a chance to hear their constant flow of nectar, which is exactly like the waves of a river, one will forget the necessities of life, namely hunger and thirst, and become immune to all kinds of fear, lamentation, and illusion, that means including false ego. Important purport proposited. The cultivation of Krishna consciousness is possible where great devotees live together and constantly engage in hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord. In a holy place like Vrindavana, there are many devotees constantly engaged in chanting and hearing the glories of the Lord. If one gets a chance to hear from a pure devotees in such a place, allowing the constant flow of river of nectar to come from the mouths of pure devotees, then the cultivation of Krishna consciousness becomes very easy. When one is engaged and constantly hearing the glories of the Lord, he certainly rises above the bodily conception. When one is in the bodily conception, he feels the pangs of hunger and thirst, fear, lamentation, illusion. But when one is engaged in hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord, he transcends the bodily conception. The word Bhagavat Gunana Katana Sravana Vyagra Chetasa, meaning always eager to find the place where the glories of the Lord are being heard and chanted, is significant in this verse. A businessman is always very eager to go to a place where business is transacted. Similarly, a devotee is very eager to hear from the lips of liberated devotee. Hundreds of verses. It is always talking about Mahat Sevam Dwaram Ahur Vimukte. You have to hear, take the association advanced devotees, pure devotees, and hear from them constantly, regularly. Every day, we can't miss it. Again and again. Prasangam Ajaram Pasam Atmanam Kavayo Vidu. Sayeva Sadhu Sukru. Moksha Dwaram Apavrata. This is the only way. There is no other way. You can cry about it, jump up and down. Nothing is going to happen. Without this process, without this specifically Mahat Sevam, pure devotees association. Without that, there is no way we can get out from this material world. Guaranteed. So everywhere it is talking about Bhagavad Gita, you look at Srimad Bhagavatam, look at Nectar Devotion, look at Chaitanya Charitamrita, you look at Narada Pancharatra, you look at Upanishad, you look at, same point is being repeated again and again. Stress is given. That means in this chapter 18, this second section, clearly specifically talking about don't give up your Nitya Karma. You may, and don't give up Naimitya Karma. What is Nitya Karma? Nitya Karma means chanting the holy name of the Lord, hearing the glories of the Lord, remembering the Lord's lotus feet and Guru, and serving the Lord. These are the Nitya Karma. Every day supposed to be done. Your 3 or 4 o'clock or 5 to 6, 5 to 7 is only belongs to Krishna and you. I belong to Krishna and Krishna is mine. It doesn't belong to anybody else. There is no activity should be done during that time. It is exclusive time for only for Krishna, nothing else. Our life should be turned towards like that. Planning should be done and activity should be done only for that purpose, nothing else. Then we can perfect. Otherwise, this ignorance cannot be removed. Unless we hear attentively, then where is the possibility? That is the same point. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself is instructing Sanatana Goswami. You have this fruitive active mentality. If you want to give up, Tara Madhya Sarvasreshta Nirantara Nama Loilo. Tare Krishna Premadana. Otherwise, there is no possibility. Nirantara. That means always. First, if you execute in mode of goodness, then you start at 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock. Chanting itself has not a great quality. Once people wake up, quality is different. They remember all your duties, what to be done. Everything, all these thoughts will come to your mind. So why that to happen? And try to do even earlier than that. That means you have to sleep early, day before. You have to plan it. If you think that Krishna is your priority in life, then we must plan it. Then only you can do Nitya Karma properly. If Nitya Karma cannot be done properly, forget about Naimitya Karma, also same thing will happen. Naimitya Karma means occasional. That means Ekadasis, Janmashtami, Gaura Purnima, which is coming on March 6. What are we going to do about it? That means there should be a plan of action 1 month before, few weeks before. Then you can do something about it. Otherwise, those also will go away just like that. So that's why these Nitya Karma, Naimitya Karma cannot be given up. What is sannyas? What is tyaga? The whole chapter is all about that. Tyaga, sannyas means renouncing any material activities, kama karma. Anything you have a desire, I have this desire, I want to enjoy this or I want to enjoy that, those ones to be renounced. Rather, you utilize everything for Krishna's pleasure. Activities in relation with Krishna, engaging in that. So that is what sannyas means. What is tyaga? Tyaga means renouncing, don't be attached to results of any activity, including kama karma. You may perform kama karma, but don't be attached to results. But in sannyas, completely you give up the unwanted activities, those which are materialistic thoughts, materialistic activities. Then we give up those activities. Rather, you dovetail every activity into Krishna's activity. So that's what is being stressed again and again in this. And then Narada Muni is stressing to Prachina Barhi, who's completely, he thought that what he's doing, engaging in fruitive activity, nicely enjoying in this material world, is the greatest thing in this world. Note that, but Narada Muni corrected him. No, what you think is completely wrong. Rather, you are completely in mode of ignorance. That's why you are not able to realize how much suffering you are going through. Then he is giving hundreds of examples, whole chapter. 2 chapters or 3 chapters are there, these instructions to Prachina Barhi. So that's it's very important to understand this point. Taking the shelter of the pure devotee and hearing. And we see that instructions here from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We see that. Listen to another wonderful pastimes of the darling son of Sachi Mata. Lord Gauranga revealed his confidential position to his eternal associate, but not to the unqualified. Gaura said, this material world is temporary and all material pursuits are futile. The devotees then lost themselves in the bliss of chanting the holy names. Chanting his own names, Mahaprabhu became mad with prema, cried in ecstasy and fell on the ground. At that time, he revealed to his internal associates that he is the supreme personality of Godhead. Holding the seed of a mango, Sri Gaurachandra said, look, I am going to sow this mango seed and produce a tree. Instantly upon entering the soil, the seed became a flowering tree. Gaura said, see how wonderful it is. My mango tree already has flowers. Within moment, ripe mango fruit appeared. Someone plucked a juicy, fragrant mango and offered it to the Lord. As quickly as the fruit-laden mango tree had come into existence, it disappeared. By manifesting this momentary mango tree, Lord Gauranga showed the potency of Maya, illusory energy of God. Through this episode, Lord taught the nature of attachment. This is what is happening with us day-to-day basis. Nature of attachment, and the nobody should lament for the material world. Gauranga said, by my energy, this whole material existence was created. Due to ignorance, the mass of people call it their own. Who can cut this strong attachment created by me? There is only one way to conquer this attachment. People should offer the results of their work to me. This is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructing. Then they may engage their bodies in my service and become free from the material bondage. If one offers everything to Krishna, surely he will attain Krishna in all respects. The Gita, Puranas, Bhagavata states that by pure devotion to Krishna, one will attain Krishna himself. One's life becomes meaningful by dedicating it to God. With a blissful heart, Lochan Das described this wonderful pastime of Gaurachandra. One day, Lord Gora smiled and asked Mukunda Datta, tell me, Mukunda, is it true that you have knowledge of Brahman? This is now, people may think that Gnana Yoga is the topmost. Now see the instruction. Well, let me quote a verse. The devotee became apprehensive. Lord said, Ramante yogino anante. Yogis always delight in unlimited Lord, who is eternal, full of bliss and knowledge. For this reason, the Supreme Brahman, the Supreme Absolute Truth, is also called Rama. Mukunda, you consider worship of the four-armed form of the Lord to be superior, yet you have little knowledge about the two-armed form of God. If you want to obtain the real wealth, you should worship the beautiful two-armed form of Sri Krishna, Samasundar Krishna, with all your heart. The Shastra says that Narayana is a manifestation of Krishna, not that Krishna comes from Narayana. Mukunda, you should bathe in the Ganga, take the dust from the feet of the Vaishnavas, and start anew your execution of devotion service. The mercy of the devotees is tremendously important. See that mercy of the devotees. Only by Kripa Shakti you can execute devotion service. Not on our strength. You have to depend on the Guru's strength. Then only. Then Krishna will come running. Puyeta angri renuvi. Nirapeksham shantam. Nirvairam sarvabhuteshu. Puyeta angri renuvi. Is running after the pure devotee's dust. That is Krishna's love for pure devotee. So we should be running towards the pure devotee. Then we will be able to get delivered from this place. Otherwise, there is no possibility. The Shastra, feeling grateful for Visvambara's kind words, Mukunda replied, my Lord, let your lotus feet be the umbrella over my head. Please pour upon me the nectar shower of your service. Do I have any way of telling what is good or what is bad for myself? Covered by ignorance, I can't see, within or without. You are the Lord, the personification of bliss. You are not different from the son of Nanda Maharaj. You are the fountainhead of all incarnation. Satisfied with Mukunda, Lord Gaurahari put his lotus feet on his head. Immediately, Mukunda showed signs of ecstatic love of Godhead. His body manifests intense euphoria with torrents of tears and shivering limbs. In a faltering voice, Mukunda prayed to Gauranga, all glories to the supreme controller and cause of all causes. Interrupting him, Viswambar said, listen, O doctor, stop speculating on the transcendental wisdom of Bhagavad Gita. If you want to live and enjoy the love of Krishna, always, Lord himself is teaching throughout in Bhagavad Gita also. That's why he's quoting Vedanta in this 13th verse. He could have directly said, I am saying this. No, he's first quoting Vedanta. In Vedanta, he's saying this. So that's how Acharya is also present. Prabhupada always talks about philosophy first, always quotes a verse. Because this is the Siddhanta. Unless you understand a Tattva, you can't. Through pastimes, you are not going to go anywhere. First, you have to understand what is Tattva. So, Krishna Tattva, Rasa Tattva, Bhakti Tattva, Jiva Tattva, Maya Tattva, all these Tattwas we have to understand what exactly it means. What is Jiva's position? What is Maya's position? What is Krishna's position? And so, how will you attain Krishna? These things must be understood. Not simply hearing pastime is not going to really help us. We have to focus on actually what should be applied in day-to-day basis. That is the most important thing to consider. Listen, O doctor, stop speculating on the transcendental wisdom. If you want to live and enjoy the love of Krishna, then reject the pursuit of jnana, dry speculative knowledge. With your heart full of love, always chant the names of Krishna. You are neglecting to worship the Lord, who is known as Natavara Sekara, the best of dramatic dancers. He has a Syama complexion, glowing like a magnificent blue sapphire. He holds a flute in his hand. Falling down on the ground, clutching Gora's feet and weeping, Mukunda said, Oh, my Lord Vishwambar, without your mercy, who can cross over the ocean of material existence? Even Brahma, Shiva, and others can't conquer your Maya. I am powerless, the lowest of all. How can I give up my material attachment and surrender unto you? Seeing my distress condition, O embodiment of mercy, please be kind and allow me to serve you. Ahaitu ki apradata. Which is through Sikshastram, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is teaching the same thing. Until now, the treasure of divine love has remained hidden within me. You have so compassionately revealed it. I want to become a bee in order to drink the honey, nectar of your lotus feet. O ocean of mercy, although I am the most vile, please give me the boon. Hearing the pitiful words of Mukund, this should be our cry every day. To Lord Nityananda Prabhu, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then something could happen in our heart. Otherwise, it's very difficult to give up unwanted things. Lord Gauranga's compassion swelled, his heart bloomed with the joy as he said, my dear Mukunda, your desire will soon be fulfilled. Srivas Pandit, a pure devotee and intelligent scholar, always worshipped Lord Krishna. He and his brothers would also devotedly serve the feet of Vishwambar and the Vaishnavas. Is that always must be serving Vaishnavas, serving the Lord, and hearing in the association of devotees, chanting the holy name of the Lord. And in this way, we can perfect our life. Every day, we should chant the Nam Sankirtan and describe the transcendental qualities of the Lord. Sri Rama was highly devoted to his brother Srivas. Together, they always sang the glories of Hari. Since they were favorable devotees of Lord Gauranga, the Lord enjoyed sporting and dancing in their home. When Prabhu danced there, he looked like a Lord Kapila surrounded by his entourage of sages, engaging in transcendental pastimes. In this way, Lord Gaurahari played, gladly spent the days teaching his many students. One day, a young Brahmana student foolishly said, that which you call Sri Krishna is actually Maya. Hearing this blasphemy, Gauranga blocked his ears and immediately jumped in the Ganga with all his clothes. Devotees followed suit. Afterward, they loudly chanted Hari Hari. Lord Gauranga said, this wretched person has contaminated my ears. After saying this, everyone chanted Krishna's holy names over and over. So in this way, you can see that the importance of how chanting the holy names of the Lord. And we see the same thing in the glories of Advaita Acharya also. Same point are mentioned. Before that, I want to read that we must remove this pride. We should be always as a menial servant of Krishna. So this is there in three people. Satyabhama thought that I am the most beautiful. Then Garuda thought I am the great. I am carrying the Lord. So who can, Lord cannot stay without me. In this way they thought. Then we can see how Lord knows what's going on in the hearts of even though they are close associates. Once it so happened that Satyabhama was proud and I am so beautiful. What are these other queens? They are all rubbish. Krishna came to know about this and thought this has to be set right. And then Sudarshan Chakra was also very proud. What is Krishna without me? Zero. Then Krishna thought of treating him too. Now Lord came to know about Garuda, that he was becoming very proud. He was fighting with everyone. What do you think of me? I carry Vishnu on my back. Who can compare with me? I am very powerful. Without me, Vishnu is left. Recognizing this, then Lord devised a plan. He is seated in everybody's heart. Sarvasya Chaham. Garuda came and asked. He cannot tolerate the pride. So then he called for Garuda. Then Garuda came and asked, yes, Lord, what can I do for you? Garuda is Lord's servant. So Lord asked him, go to Gandhamadana Parvata. Hanuman is staying there. Tell him I want him immediately. Garuda went to bring Hanuman. Then Satyabhama was standing near Krishna. So Krishna said to Satyabhama, you please go to Rukmini and tell her that she has to sit next to me, that she would wear saris of Sita. She should be Sita today because Hanuman is coming. Satyabhama immediately flared up. Krishna, what are you talking? Am I not beautiful enough? Why should I tell Rukmini? So Krishna said, see, I have told you what to do. Now you do whatever you like. The same story as Arjuna's case. Krishna told Arjuna, I told the whole Bhagavad Gita. It is up to you. You want to follow what my instruction or you want to do whatever you like. It is up to you. Choice is yours. Free will is there. You do. So same thing is happening here. So anyway, Satyabhama thought that she will get ready as Sita and come. She came and sat. Krishna remarked, it is up to you. I have told what you have to do. Now sit. Doesn't matter. Then Krishna called Sudarshan Chakra. Boom, boom. He came and asked, what can I do, my lord? Krishna asked him, go to the main gate of the palace and see that nobody enters from there. By that time, Garuda had reached Gandhamadana Parvat and found Hanuman was busy in chanting Lord Rama's names. Garuda said, Lord Ram is remembering you. Just now you have to come. So Hanuman replied, I will come. I am coming. Garuda said, come immediately, otherwise I will carry you. Hanuman said politely, See, you please go. I will be there before you. But Garuda started boasting. No, no, no. You don't know how powerful I am. I can carry your father Vayu also. Hanuman is Vayuputra. He thought there is something wrong. He could understand that Lord had sent him to destroy his Abhiman pride. So he said, please don't agitate me. You just go and I am coming. Again, he repeated the same thing. Please shut up now, said Hanuman. And he caught hold on the tail of Garuda, swung him around and threw him into the ocean of Dwaraka. He was disposed of. Now the Hanuman was on the gate to face Sudarshan Chakra. Sudarshan said, hey monkey, what are you doing? Where are you going? Hanuman thought, this is another one. Today our Ram wants to smash all these people. He said to Sudarshan Chakra, in Treta Yuga, I have served Lord Rama very sincerely. So Mother Sita has given me the benediction that I can go anytime to their inner quarters also. I can see them. So please allow me to go. But Sudarshan was adamant. Hanuman just picked him up, put it into his mouth and walked in. Lord Rama was very pleased to see him. Hanuman paid obeisance and sat down as if he had to say something. Lord Rama asked him, what is the matter, Hanuman? Do you have something to ask? Actually, Satyabhama was sitting beside Lord Rama. So Hanuman asked, my lord, who is this Dasi? Satyabhama frowned and ran immediately, perspiring to Rukmini and told her, your son has come, that monkey's son, except you, he regards everyone else as Dasi. Then Rukmini came and Satyabhama was disposed of. Then Garuda came with wet body. Krishna asked him the matter. He said, ask Hanuman. Krishna looked at Hanuman. He could see his mouth was red. Krishna asked, what is there in your mouth? Did you eat pan? He opened his mouth and Sudarshan came out with his face hung down. Then Lord smashed the Abhiman of Satyabhama, Garuda, Sudarshan Chakra. So you can understand how false ego, it is just a lesson. It doesn't mean that Sudarshan is less. It doesn't mean that Garuda is less. It is just to teach us a lesson that however great we may be, if you are not in this position of menial servant of Guru and Krishna, we can fall down anytime. We can fall down. However great we could be, however many years of experience we may have in Krishna consciousness, it doesn't matter. So that's why Prabhupada himself was teaching. Every day in front of the deities is always praying. Let me not be attracted by Maya. Let me always be in the service of Guru and Krishna. That should be our prayer too. We are nothing in front of Sri Prabhupada, in front of these pure devotees. So these lessons are being taught that how to remove our false ego. Whenever we put tilak, whenever we wear dhoti, whenever we are chanting, we should always remember this position. I want to carry this position till my last breath. I want to serve Guru and Krishna as a menial servant. My duty is only to please them. My whole life, let it be turned into like this. That should be our goal. That should be our desire. Then our life will be perfect. Anything else, we don't know what's going to happen. Result may happen. Result may be favorable, may not be favorable. We don't know. But if you do this, pleasing to Guru and Krishna, that is our main goal, center focus. Then for sure, Shastra is guaranteeing. For sure, Sri Prabhupada is guaranteeing that you will go back to Godhead, because Yasya prasada to Bhagavat prasado, Yasya aprasada nagati kutopi. If you are not trying to please Guru and Krishna, no destination, no spiritual destination. You may go in this material Brahmanda Brahmite Bhagavan. You may run in this Brahmanda, but we don't know where we are going to go with it. So that's why it is very important to understand this, why Krishna is speaking these 5 causes, that without me being the supreme cause, you can't do any activity. You may do, but it's not the ultimate perfection. You cannot reach me. You cannot attain me. You cannot develop love for me. You can't see me. You can't engage in rasa with me, nor with my pure devotees. So that's it's important point to understand. Let's read from Advaita Acharya, see what he says. Blissful feelings arise in my body as I began to describe the wonderful pastimes of Lord Gauranga. One day, Lord Gauranga and Sivas and other associates visited Advaita Acharya. Some devotees sang melodiously, some danced, and some chanted Harinam. Suddenly, Gaurari broke into dance, sending everyone into ecstasy. Inundated with waves of prema, the devotee's body became covered with horripilation. Tears rained forth and they lost their balance. Hiking up his dhoti, Gauranga roared like a lion. Oblivious to the world, his followers rolled on the ground. In this way, Lord Gaurahari Sankirtan party joyfully moved to the house of Advaita Acharya. Upon meeting Advaita Acharya, Gauranga and his companions offered dandavats. The Advaita returned the respects and said humbly, O Prabhu, you are the crest jewel of millions of Advaitas. They embraced, bathed each other with tears of love. Then they sat down comfortably and Advaita Acharya said, Prabhu, the atheists say that Kali Yuga is devoid of devotion. Now let them come and satisfy their eyes by seeing my Lord Gauranga Mahaprabhu. resounding like a cloud, Gaur Hari said in a grave voice, besides bhakti, what else is there in Kali Yuga? Rather, bhakti is the only thing available in this material world. One who says there is no bhakti in this age of Kali is a useless person. In no other age has the Lord given so much mercy. At that moment, Srivas Pandit, feeling some trepidation, said to Gauranga, my Lord, one of these atheistic Brahmanas is standing before us. He will surely disrupt our Kirtan festival. He is an atheistic person, overly proud of his learning. Mahaprabhu told that Brahmana, you wicked miscreant, don't come here. The Brahmana hastily retreated. Lord Gauranga then enacted a beautiful pastime, holding Srivas' hand in his one hand, Gadadhar in other. Gauranga looked at the face of his devotee, Sri Raghunandan, and cried. The Lord touched Sri Rama Pandita with his lotus feet. Together with the devotees, Lord Gauranga chanted and danced blissfully before Advaita Acharya. Gaur Hari danced in the center while the devotees sang joyfully, spun around the Lord. The beautiful Lord appeared just like the Lord of Praja, encircled by his beloved gopis. After the exhilarating Sankirtan performance, Lord Gaurachandra took prasad, lovingly prepared by Advaita Acharya and his wife Sita Devi. Sri Advaita offered a Lord a fragrant flower garland and smeared camphor-scented sandalwood paste on his body. Advaita thought, now I have received so much mercy from the Lord himself. The followers of Advaita Acharya cried and fell at Gauranga's lotus feet. Vishwambar lifted them up and embraced them tenderly. The Lord and his associates stayed there singing and dancing for a few days before returning home. At home, Mahaprabhu enjoyed discussing Krishna consciousness with his devotees. Vishwambar said, Krishna is the only Lord of creation. He is the soul of all. To demonstrate the process of creation, the Lord extended his arm and repeatedly opened and clenched his fist. Listen, the Lord continued, the truth of the Lord's creation can only be understood when one is absorbed in devotion. Although it is difficult to understand, I am trying to describe this so that the conditioned soul may obtain liberation from the material existence. Without being liberated, one can't understand Krishna. See my 5 fingers. One is covered with honey, other 4 smell bad. You would gladly lick the finger and smeared with honey, yet you would reject the other 4. In the same way, liberated soul will accept the Lord and leave everything else behind. After passing briefly, Gauranga again delivered his mercy. There is nothing except Krishna Bhakti. Through Bhakti, one can know Lord Krishna, who is the essence of all things. One's devotion will become steady when one realizes this. He will quickly attain causeless devotion for Lord Krishna. Then Prabhu meditated on Krishna's lotus feet while repeatedly chanting Hari Hari, Hari Hari. Then Prabhu Vishwambar described the blissful Vrindavan Leela of Radha Shyamsundar. In the middle of Vrindavan forest, Radha and Shyama sit in the beautiful throne in the center of a jeweled inlaid temple. They are surrounded by the gopis, peacocks, cuckoos, doves, parrots, and bees sing sweetly. Sri Vrindavana is full of fragrant flowers and is encircled by the Yamuna river. It is so attractive and captivating that even Lakshmi Devi becomes eager to visit. When Lakshmi saw Sri Vrindavan, she became thrilled with ecstasy. Her eyes became red as if intoxication. She cried streams of tears and her body filled with horripilation. Due to love, she cried, laughed, sang, and danced. While saying this, Vishwambar's throat became choked up. He ended his talk saying, with their transcendental qualities, the devotees purify the 3 worlds. The Lord then danced joyfully, inspiring his associate to join in rapture of Harinam Sankirtan. Thus, Lord Gauranga happily lived among his devotees on the banks of Ganga and Navadvip. One day, Advaita Acharya came to Navadvip to visit Vishwambar. Mahaprabhu, however, had gone to the house of Srivas Pandit. Anticipating his quick return, Advaita made preparations for bath and worship. In Srivas' house, Lord Gaura offered flowers in worship to the club-like stick. At that time, Lord told everyone with a voice of delight, I worship this Gada club to destroy the miscreants who offend my devotees. Using this club, I punish such atheists. There is one rogue who had offended my devotees, and for this offense, he will suffer from leprosy for many lives. Then he will go to hell and become a stool-eating pig. With this club, I will kill that person along with his followers. I want to go to the forest, but this place has become a vast forest. Here, one man is like a tiger, one man is like a rock, another one is like a blade of grass or a tree. Some people act just like a jungle beast. For this reason, I call this place Mahavana, a great forest. Knowing that Advaita Acharya had arrived in Lord's home, Gaur Hari decided to return. Advaita came before Vishwambar and gave gifts and offered respects by lying prostrate at his feet. Lord Gaur Hari caught Advaita Acharya's hand and said, only for you I have descended to this world. You held my lotus feet on your head and cried and offered Tulasi Manjaris to me. Being a pure devotee, you summoned me with your loud cries. Because of your love for me, everyone has now received my mercy. Sitting on a dais, Gauranga ordered Advaita Acharya to dance. Advaita Acharya, greatest of all Brahmanas, stepped exuberantly while simultaneously singing Dasavatar Stotra. Srivas Pandit and other devotees, overcome with prema, joined Advaita Acharya in Sankirtan. Srivas said, "My lord, I have a question, but I hesitate to ask it. Yet I am anxious to know the answer. Is Advaita Acharya your devotee?" Lord Gaurari's face turned red with anger as he scolded Srivas. "Both Uddhava and Akrura are very dear to me, but you think that Advaita Acharya is less than them? In all of Bharatavarsa, you will not find a devotee of mine like Advaita Acharya. You ignorant Brahmana. Now listen, Advaita Acharya, the king of the Vaishnavas, is my devotee and is my very soul. He is the master of the creation who has descended just to deliver the people of Kali Yuga. The Shastras say he is Mahavishnu. Oh Bhaktavata, Srivas, now you should understand the exalted position of Advaita Acharya. With a sincere heart, you should always serve and worship him." Srivas listened silently and soberly to Mahaprabhu's instruction. Gaurahari continued, "Srivas, don't cultivate jnana. If I ever see you doing this, I won't give you love of Krishna. By ignoring karma and gnana, you will get Krishna prema. Knowing this, don't take shelter of karma and gnana." Srivas replied, "Oh Lord, please bless me to forget the mundane pursuit of karma and gnana." Murari Gupta said, "Visambar, I don't know anything about speculative knowledge." Gauranga said, "If you really want to know it, then you should learn from Advaita Acharya. But I think you should just be sincere and worship Krishna Chandra with a pure heart. Compared to bhakti, mukti, the goal of gnana, is insignificant." On hearing this, assembled devotees became blissful. They vowed within their heart to execute the Lord's order. The devotees danced and sang in such a divine madness that the demigod became astonished by the display. Such are the wonderful pastimes of Lord Gauranga's preaching love of God in the land of Nadia. His eyes blooming red lotus flowers dot here and there like maddened bees. His glands overflows with the nectar of compassion. His face glowing full moon causes all to cry in love. Everyone in Nadia takes pleasure in seeing the dancing the son of Sachi Mata. Gauranga looks just like the all-attractive Madan Mohan. While dancing in the rapture of Prema, Gaura's body erupts in transcendental horripilation. Standing erect, the hairs on his body appear like a golden kadamba flowers. Mahaprabhu likes kadamba flowers. We get, I think, in Chinese shop here. We did few times. Huge drops of perspiration fly off his body. This manifestation of divine love made his body glisten like the rising sun. Half-choked words rubble within his conchal smooth neck. A sweet fragrance spreads from his lotus feet, which are decorated with toenails glowing like 10 moons. As he walks, all directions are illuminated by his splendid effulgence. In Navadvip, the Supreme Personality of Godhead manifested a unique form of divine love. Here, Gaurahari performed his Prem Nam Sankirtan festival. Roaring like a lion, he covered the globe with the sound of Krishna's holy name. Radiant as the sun, Gauranga's beautiful body dressed enchanted everyone in the universe. Dots of sandalwood adorned his moon-like lotus face. The world became charmed by tears of flowing from the nectar fountain of his eyes. His walking resembled the gait of an elephant. His graceful, cupid-like form captivated all the women in this world. In this way, this pastime, beautiful pastime, but the lesson is give up this tendency of false ego, which means give up the doership or enjoyer. Always be in the position of menial servant of Guru and Krishna and his devotees. In that position, let us try to improve our service, improve our chanting, improve our hearing, improve our remembering the lotus feet of Guru and Krishna. In this way, let us perfect and go back to home, back to Godhead in this lifetime. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Daya Karo More Toma Bina Ke Dayalu Jagat Samsare. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Daya Karo More. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Daya Karo More. Tuma bina ki dayalu jagat samsare. Tuma bina ki dayalu jagat samsare. पतिता पावना रे हेतु तव अवतारा पतिता पावना रे हेतु तव अवतारा मोसामा पतिता प्रभु न पाइबे आरा दया करो सीतापति अद्वैता गोसाई दया करो सीतापति अद्वैता गोसाई तव कृपा बोले चैतन्यानिताई आह प्रभु नित्यानंद प्रेमानंद सुखी आह प्रभु नित्यानंद प्रेमानंद सुखी कृपावलोकन करो আমি বড় দুঃখী আহা স্বরূপ সনাতন রূপার গুণাতন আহা স্বরূপ সনাতন রূপার গুণাতন দয়া করো শ্রী আচার্য प्रभु श्रीनिवास दया करो श्री आचार्य प्रभु श्रीनिवास रामचंद्र संगामगे नरोत्तम दास रामचंद्र संगामगे नरोत्तम दास श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु दया कर मोरे Hare Krishna. Thank you all very much for patiently listening. Ramraj, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Already 8:05. Sorry for the delay. Any questions, comments, reflections?
Jai. Thank you, Krishna Namananada Prabhu. It was pretty much entire Chaitanya Charitamrita Bhagavatam. So beautiful. It was continuously flowing, the nectar. Thank you so much. Did you devotees anything you would like to add? Any questions? Any reflections? Any comments? Please go ahead. No questions? Are able to hear?
Maybe they are muted. I don't know. You unmuted them?
Yes,
Yeah, I think everybody can unmute.
Okay.
If anybody would like to add any questions?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, just one question from the morning class about that the before the age was like 10,000 years when they do yoga, right? So the living the life of the it was quite like they say it's 1,000 years and all. Right now we are not even going over 60-65 years.
Mhm.
What is the reason behind it? Is it because I don't know if it's because they're doing yoga was different. I think Mataji asked one question. So
What is the
I'm not
reason?
sure. What is the reason behind, right? Why the age limit has changed so much?
This is Yuga cycle is going on, right? Four ages are there from Satya Yuga to Treta, Dwapara, and Kali, and time period changes. So just like the day of time, also mode of goodness, passion, ignorance, from morning to evening it changes. Same way, so the age also changes, and again it repeats. So the nothing much is in our control. So we have to go by that. So what is
So
there ordained? So yeah, but soul has unlimited time. So whatever he wants to do, free will. If he wants to go back to Godhead within Kali Yuga, within this one lifetime, it is possible, provided we take shelter of Guru and Krishna. So that's what we have to be interested. Why it is so? Why bhakti has to be performed? Then we have to understand. Put our logic together. What makes sense within your short period of time. Can you want to close your eyes and nose and you're going to do kumbhaka, raichika, and pranayam, pratyahar, dharana, samadhi? Is it possible? Really? No, it is not possible. It is so difficult to just do pratyahar. Forget about forget about pratyahar. Even pranayam itself is difficult, and the pratyahar is even further difficult to control the senses and just meditate. And then forget about dharana and samadhi. So there is no question of coming to the yoga process. So it's very difficult. Look at Sri Prabhupada reaching in Kumbh Mela. Big yogis, they couldn't do what Sri Prabhupada was doing. What is the use of living for thousands of years and appearing suddenly into that Kumbh Mela river and taking a bath? What big deal? It's not a big deal. That is not the perfection of life. So that's why we have to consider these various points. What Sri Prabhupada is giving us through various books, Bhagavad Gita, Nectar of Devotion, and Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Upanishads. So from every angle, so you look at that is the conclusion. But if you are on the surface, on the periphery, then yes, you think yoga is the ultimate, you think fruitive activity is ultimate, you think this jnana is also ultimate. That's why Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu cut to pieces in all these pastimes. Is just cutting all this karma, jnana, and so many isms, Buddhism, Jainism, this ism, that ism. So many pastimes are there, all relate to this only. He's cutting everything to pieces. Except bhakti, nothing is going to stay in its forefront. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself is coming with his associate parshads of Harinam Sankirtan, nothing can stand against it. So we should take the advantage. For next 10,000 years, it's going to stay. At least let us take full advantage and go back to God at this lifetime. Let's not waste one more life. That's what I would say.
Dhanyavad, Prabhuji. Very good.
Oh, thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, go ahead, Amritam.
Please accept humble obeisance, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Prabhu, my question is related to developing the mood of a menial servant. What can happen is that sometimes, even in doing seva, we get attached to a particular type of seva. Either it is because we excel at it or because we like doing it. And then when other seva is required, we tend to stay away from it. So how to develop this mood of a menial servant, that whether I'm cleaning the toilet or whether I'm doing deity worship, wherever I'm required by the authority, I should be able to do it, and not just one or the other type of seva.
Yeah, it is just follow the instruction of authority, especially under the guidance of authority, spiritual master, so whom we have confidence on. We should strictly follow what is being told and consistently do that service. If you have taken 1, 2, 3, 4 services, different services, we should continue on. And then if anything else comes up, based on that availability, but we cannot give up those what is being taken already. And then we can take if we are available to do additional service. But these existing services we can give up unless the authority says, okay, you can change from this service A to service B, then it's fine. If the authority says, no, you must continue these services, we don't have anybody else, then we must continue those existing services. Then that's what menial servant means. You are ready to follow the instructions of Guru. That's what menial means. Otherwise, it's not menial. That means you are on your own speculations and ideas and thoughts. You don't want to follow. So that is not menial. So that's why we have to hear from Guru and authority. Prabhupada clearly said, I have given you GBC. GBC is there, whether you like it or not like it, you have to follow GBC. Yeah, so that's what it is. Menial servant means you always have to follow, because that is not his instruction. His guru, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur Goswami Prabhupada, tomorrow is fasting till noon. He himself told, okay, you set up this GBC kind of thing, and then you all discuss among, and then come to a conclusion to make a decision. And whatever decision comes, whether you like it or not like it, you have to follow. Their disciple didn't follow, except only Srila Prabhupada followed it. He made sure that before he leaves the planet, then he established this GBC on authority. Yes, there could be some this or that, but that's immaterial in any organization, in anything. It's sometimes we tend to, sometimes there could be failures, but that doesn't mean the process is not working. That doesn't mean the system is not working. It is just that we don't have enough faith to follow the instructions of guru and authority. So that's where the menial servant doesn't come into picture. We are of servant of our own thoughts of mind and intelligence and false ego. So that's where the problem comes. Then our progress in devotional service is not so quick. It will take long time, because we don't want to follow. Until we want to follow, till that time progress is checked. It will be slow, very slow. So that's why we have to follow, whether we like it or not. We may have difference of opinion, which is fine. In the spiritual world also, there is a difference of opinion. There is a competition, that is all there, but it is all for the pleasure of Krishna, which is no problem in that. But we must agree on Krishna must be in the center of those. If the authorities have some service, Krishna is in the center, then we must ready to do that service. So obviously we have to balance our family and time, and then let them know that this is my situation, what you want me to do, how can I help you. So that's what we have to come to. Yes, everybody is busy, maybe wife and husband are working, which is fine, but you should be clear enough and don't keep something inside the heart and say something else. Be truthful and honest, and this is my situation, so what can I do within this limitation. Then according, that is what menial service means. You are always ready to submit yourself to the authority, and you want to serve in your best capacity. Krishna is also in your priority list. Krishna is not in your backlog. Then that means you are not menial servant. If you are menial servant, you will have Krishna in your priority. If not, then that cannot be called as menial servant. Menial only comes then because you call your servant in India or here. These days, it's very rare to find those kind of servants. They used to come even if you pay 100 or 500 rupees. They come whole life. Their family, their grand family, they'll keep coming and serving. And they don't mind. That's what menial servant means. They just want to continue. They're not so much after money. They just want to continue. So they want to follow. They want to be under the guidance, under the shelter. That's what menial service means. Otherwise, it is our own, on our own ideas and thoughts. We don't want to follow. So yeah, that is my reflection, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Paramananda Chaitanya Prabhu, right? Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Wonderful class, Prabhuji. Nice pastimes of Lord Chaitanya. And wonderful bhajan you sang for all of us. Nice kirtan. Thank you, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I was just what Prabhuji just asked a question about being attached to this service. Also on the same note, maybe on the lower side, is that when you are doing service and you kind of been doing it for a while, you also start get a little tinge of pride. I don't know if pride is the right word, but yeah, attached, and then was like, okay, I can do this better. How to save ourselves from that feeling, Prabhuji, that thought?
Yeah, attachment is not a problem. Attachment to service is really good, but the pride do come. But that's why we have balances and checks. If you are under the guidance of authority, if you are under the guidance of whatever Siksha devotee, then I'm sure they will be ready to correct you and ready to guide you. And then they will know, just like Krishna has corrected Satyabhama and Garuda and Sudarshan Chakra. Because that means if you are under the guidance, then that means you are confidentially discussing with them. Then they know that this person has some issue to deal with, so then they will correct you or they will instruct you through class or through directly, depending on how much you can take on. Accordingly, you may receive. So that's why you have to attentively hear. Sometimes it may not come directly; it comes through the classes. So I haven't thought about this class the way I presented. It just came to my mind in last 1 hour through reflection. I presented. So who knows what Krishna is thinking of, what he wants to solve the problem of so many devotees. So it's up to him what his plan is. So, so that's why it's not necessary that directly it's going to come through a devotee to devotee. Sometimes it is through classes. Sometimes as you do the service, the realizations will come. So, but it is good to be always under the shelter of our Siksha devotees, so that we can be corrected, we can be chastised. We should ready to accept. If you are menial servant, you will ready to accept the chastisement, corrections, because if it is for our improvement, why not? Right? We are here to improve ourselves in the service of Guru and Krishna. So why shouldn't we accept? Why shouldn't we accept? We should be ready to accept the corrections and chastisement if you want to improve. If you don't want to improve, that's a secondary story. But that's what it is. Yeah, pride will be checked. As long as we are under the shelter, pride will be checked. I myself, my pride was checked when I went to Mayapur, and I was thinking my Guru is close and this and that. Then he didn't even talk to me for a few days. I went to classes. He didn't even talk to me. So he knows what's going on. So he checked the pride. So yes, that does happen. The Lord knows, Guru knows what is happening in the consciousness of the disciple. He corrects it. So, but we should be ready to accept it, whatever the case. Sometimes you may be embarrassed in front of the disciples, but still, if it is coming from Guru and advance, we should ready to accept. It is for our own benefit. Krishna is engaging us in that way. We should be ready to accept that. So it will help us, because we are ready to cry in front of Guru and Krishna. So when we are embarrassed, then we will cry. Hopefully that will become cry when we are chanting. Right now it is not happening. Not a single drop of tear is coming when we are chanting, because we are not in that menial servant position. So that's why we are not able to cry. When we sing kirtan, when we chant, when we hear, when we remember, the tears has to come. But if it is not coming, that means we are not in the position of menial servant. We still have some pride and false ego. So that's why we have to really work on it. Day after day, we have to really work on it. Under the shelter of Srila Prabhupada and Guru, and those who are really trying to serve, trying to improve the service, let us be under their shelter, so that we all can really progress together. And please, Srila Prabhupada. Is it okay, Prabhu? Ramananda Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji. And just one more thing. In order to check on, I mean, like you said, under the authorities is good, and then be in close association. So, what should be the? I understand there's not one set criteria, but what should be the method which, or maybe the way to check, like who can tell us like how we are doing in terms of in our devotional service? I mean, rather than we speculating in our minds, something.
Yeah, I can tell you directly whether you like it or not like it. You are under the shelter of Simhasa Prabhu. You take his guidance, and he knows what's going on with you. You have to ask. Sometimes he may not tell you directly, but you have to ask. We shouldn't be shy. So we shouldn't be shy in devotion. We have to confidentially discuss, and he will know. Because if you are attending regularly, you will know what's going on, what's not going rightly. But you have to submit a task, and then he will tell you. So that's what it is. So we all have to be under the shelter of someone. So whether it's junior, senior, doesn't matter. And we should be friends. So that's why Rupa Goswami is instructing. And obviously, your Guru, you should listen from your Guru regularly, online or offline. And on top of it, you should be under that's what Srila Prabhupada said. You must always visit temple. You must always be in the association of devotees, on top of hearing my lectures or Guru's lectures. Because then in the association of devotees, you should be with friends with the equal level. And then you should also be under The Advanced Devotees Association should take them, and that means you should ask the questions and you should confidentially discuss what's going on, some illusory pleasures, what is holding us up in our chanting, why we are not able to chant. One day we do, one day another day quality is not good. What is the problem? We have to ask them why it is so, why it is happening. So then they should be able to at least share some light. So you can ask your guru, you can write to guru. If you think guru is busy, then you can write to guru's representative. They will ready to answer. Guru is always there. Guru and guru's representative is always there to guide. But we ourselves think that, no, why should I write? So let me wait. No, there is no waiting. We should write. When our progress is not, we are not able to see the progress, we are not able to get to the next level, we should write. We should ask those questions. And then definitely answer will come. So then in that way we'll progress. If you don't write, Prabhupada always encouraged. Prabhupada always replied letters. Thousands of letters he wrote. Why? This only. Because unless you write, unless you exchange what is your state of consciousness, what's going on, unless you are seeking that guidance, then how will we progress? There is no way to progress. We have to write. We have to check. While we are reading also, whenever we get questions, we should ask, and then we should mark it. And if it is a deep question, we should write to Guru or Guru's representative. Ask them. There is nothing wrong. They are always ready to help. But devotees are not approaching. That is the problem. So we are not really interested in questioning and getting the answers. So what is the real cause of my progress is being checked? Why I'm not developing taste for the holy name? Why I'm not developing taste for service? Why I'm not able to remember while I'm being at work 8 hours a day or 10 hours a day? Why I'm not able to remember Krishna? What exactly is causing is not to remember Krishna? So all these things, questions has to be raised, and then it has to be confidentially discussed with those devotees whom we are under shelter, whom we are always hearing classes from. Then we should take their shelter. If you don't have confidence, then approach Guru or Guru's representative. That will solve the problems. That's also Prabhupada told. I can't solve all problems. I can't answer everybody. You reach out to Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj. You reach out to these other my disciples, these zones. You reach out to them. Prabhupada established. I'm not speaking directly from myself. So Prabhupada himself established in that way system so that everybody has opportunity to reach out to at least his representatives and get the answer, questions answered. So that's why he asked always recommendation. They have to recommend, then only Prabhupada could give initiation. So that's why this recommendation process is there. That means you are under the shelter guidance. Now they are always merciful. That's why they are giving you recommendation. But if you strictly speak, then we may not be qualified. But they are very merciful. That means we should be really grateful for them who are giving recommendation to us, and we should be always under their shelter and then serve them to the best of our capacity. So in this way, progress can be made. Otherwise, it's difficult to make progress without that taking shelter and guidance, the devotees.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Guruji. Dandavat all glories to Prabhupada. Krishnaman Prabhu, just have a question.
Ramakrishna Kotapam, correct?
This Sudhakar.
Sudhakar Bellam. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Sudhakar.
So, I mean, so we know this material world, there is the space and time. So our mind, can understand the geography standpoint, there are different planets and all of these, right?
Yeah.
But when it comes to the spiritual world,
yes,
our the mind tends to think in the similar way, right? Thinking that okay, that's something like some geographical location outside of this material universe, but it still it thinks in that sense that okay, geography and all that, right? It's somewhere up there, somewhere far away, the spiritual world.
okay.
So how do we really see that is that right understanding? Think that spiritual world is way far in terms of geography, or should we really think that spiritual world is actually within us? There is nothing, somewhere up there, but it is actually within us. Because that's how mind thinks that, okay, think of, okay, what's the nature of the spiritual and all that. But still, our material senses, our material mind is thinking that. So how can it really comprehend the spiritual nature?
I got your point. So the basic things first. If you want to come to the US or the Western world, you have heard from someone, and then you have gone through some research, and then you applied, and then you came here. Same way, if you want to understand the spiritual world, then you must consult the Shastra. Almost from Srimad Bhagavatam, you have the description of the spiritual world. Starting from Lord Brahma, he himself saw the Vaikuntha. He is describing his details of what is there in Vaikuntha, where it is situated. In Brahma Samhita, this is described where it is situated, all the planet, all the way from this material world, above the Shiva Loka, and then above that Haridham, above that is Ayodhya Dham, Jagannath Puri, Dwaraka, Mathura, and then Golok Dham in Brahma Samhita. In Brihad Bhagavatamrita, the clearly description is there. Gopakumar going from one place to another place, he was not happy until he went to Golok Vrindavan. So, and Gopal Champu, so hundreds of books are there, not one book. Gopal Champu book is there describing the whole spiritual world. And pretty much almost every book except Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is also giving, but more philosophy, because Krishna is setting a general tone, foundational knowledge. It means it has underlying details, but we can't directly understand it. The verses of Manmana Mohammad Bhakto or Paras Tasmat Bhava Avyakta Sanatana, many verses talking about, but the same verses, you have to read the commentary of Jiva Goswami Pad, read the commentary of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and Sridhar Swami. They are giving the commentary on the same Bhagavad Gita or Bhaktivinoda Thakur, giving the commentary on the same verses at a very, very highest level, almost at the level of gopis or the cohort boys, that level of understanding for the same verses. Like Manmana Bhamad Bhakta, you see the verse that Man Manaska Tekta Jivita at the level of gopis. Same verse is taken at that level. But it takes some time to understand. But we have to hear and read. The spiritual world is situated. 3/4 of this Brahmanda is spiritual world, only 1/4. It is like a prison house. In every country, you have a prison house. It's only a limited sphere. But we think this is what all in all. But that is not so. That's why we have anxiety here. But the real thing is in the spiritual world, it is there. It is the reality. It is not something somebody has concocted or somebody is assuming. No, it is not assumption. If it is assumption, why these details are there, including all the demigods, at least major demigods are there, Saraswati, Ganesha, but they are not the same as the demigods who are coming and going. Jivas are taking these positions based on their qualification in each manvantara. But there are demigods who are there in the spiritual world. Prabhupada is talking about in some of the books, in some of the acharyas. Prabhupada is also saying that in spiritual world, you may be animal, you could change your position from animal to a bird if you want to. That also Prabhupada was mentioning in one of the books, either Krishna book or Bhagavatam. But we have to read. If you read and hear, then only you know what is exactly spiritual world looks like, what kind of pastimes happen between cohort boys, between the gopis of Vrindavan, between the master and servant, or what their servants are. Nectar devotion especially talks about it, the qualities and the pastimes, the rasas. So, but it's a gradual progress. We have to keep hearing, keep reading, then you understand and you get mature and you'll have faith. Initially, maybe there may not be faith. We may not believe that there is no spiritual world. Who has seen? Who has went there to spiritual world and come back? Yes, read Brihad Bhagavatamrita, clear example. Gopakumar went to all these places, come back. And he told he was not satisfied. Then he went back again. So from that book itself, you know clearly that it is not some concocted idea that spiritual world is there. No, it is there. And there are many examples like that. So, and they realize devotees, Prabhupada, all these Acharya, Ramanujacharya, all these are expansions of the great personalities. Anantadev's expansion is Ramanujacharya, Vayu's expansion is Madhvacharya. We think that they are just ordinary persons who have just come to give something of a mystery or some magic or something. No, They have realized it, they have seen the truth, they have in direct communication with God, they have seen God, and they have come here to deliver us. That's why they are here. Prabhupada also has been mentioned in Brahman Purana. There is another one where empowered personality will come and distribute the mercy of the Lord. So we have to go by what Shastra is telling. Otherwise, we have these 4 defects. So we are going to take our 4 defects. We will go by our sense perception and sense understanding, or we'll go by Shastra. If you go by Shastra, then because it's Apavurushe, it is coming from the mouth of the Lord. So which one you are going to take? You are going to listen from the expert doctor or expert lawyer or expert teacher, or you are going to listen to somebody who's not even gone through that process. You are going to listen from them. Obviously, logic makes sense that you should hear from Shastra, and which is corroborated by Sadhu and Shastra and Guru, always telling the same thing again and again through their songs, through their books, their translation, their purport. Then we should take that, accept it. Let's not beat around the bush. Accept it if it is coming. And you see the transformation. Phalena parichyate. Look at the results of what Srila Prabhupada has done. So that means there is a reality. That spiritual world is there. He has come from spiritual world. Especially this Ramanacharya, Madhvacharya, Nimbakacharya, Srila Prabhupada. So all of them has come from spiritual world. So he has seen the truth.
Yeah, right, Prabhuji. I think the question is again, there is a spiritual world, because it is beyond this material world, right? So that's what Shastra, everything tells us. So my question was not to even question whether there is a spiritual world, but we understand there is a spiritual world. But then, for our material mind to comprehend, right? When we think of a spiritual world, we tend to think more from geography standpoint, and somewhere up there, and right. But is that the right thing, or should we really think that the spiritual world is something we have to go within and then experience it, but not geographically and space-wise? Rather, we should look inward and then try to experience that spiritual world through our shastras and right.
That is there. The inward journey always has to be there. It's all inward journey. This detachment, whatever we are talking about, is more than external. It is internal detachment. So internal revelations will come. Internally, we may be able to get to hear from Krishna, like Narada Muni has heard. That will happen. But we have to go to the actually literally to the spiritual world when we perfect our life. Before we enter into spiritual world, clearly talking about, we are going to enter into the planet where Krishna is performing pastime, where we will be trained in particular position, particular rasa, and then we will enter into spiritual world. And this material world is of this like a bubble, one of the universe, where so many millions of universe, it's like bubbles. And then we have to cross over this universe, and then there are 7 layers above that. This earth, water, fire, air, ether, the mind, pulse, ego. So the 7 layer. Then you enter into Brahman Apaljan, which is like in between Viraja river, whatever different names are there, and then you enter into spiritual world, starting with this Haridham, which is Vaikuntha Loka, and then you have Ayodhya Dham, then you have Dwarka, then you have Jagannath Puri, then you have Mathura, then Golok Vrindavan. Within that there are huge space. It's not a small space. Golok Vrindavan is the biggest space. You have 4 quadrants, then you have Sweta Dweep, where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is performing pastimes. So all these are described in great detail in various books. We just have to listen, and then gradually we'll get it. But initially, yes, it may be a little difficult for mind to accept or understand exactly how it is structured. But obviously it is also not like horizontal or vertical. It is a 3-dimensional. You can look at it in that way. This whole the whole structure of this universe, or the whole Brahmanda. It's not exactly like a horizontal or vertical. So in that way, but those who are more Sadapata Prabhu or some other scientists, they can describe much more better. We have to read their books if you want to really understand the structure, or look at other books from ISKCON. There are so many books written on the structure of the universe. Canto 5 talks about it in Srimad Bhagavatam, structure of the universe. But if you want to get more details, then you can read some other books of these more deep, knowledgeable scientist devotees from Bhakti Swarup Damodar Goswami Maharaj or Sadaputa Prabhupada, Prabhupada disciples.
There is
thank you, Prabhuji.
there is in Srimad Bhagavatam, Prabhuji, third canto, there is a chapter entirely for this geometrical structure about various planets and how this all are rotating each other. There is various planets and goes beyond, and Lokaloka and Mahaloka then goes to the Dhruva planet. Beyond that, there is Swadadeep, and this is the material boundary, and then beyond that boundary is the river, the Viraja river. That's a boundary in between the material realm and the spiritual realm. Then it's actually enters into the boundary in the entrance of the spiritual. That's Vaikuntha planets, and within the Vaikuntha planets are the innumerable Vaikuntha planets. And so, how do we? In terms of understanding this, also Srimad Bhagavad is a great source of this one. Actually, Srimad Bhagavad also mentioned that there is a layers of like earth, water, fire, air, ether, then mind, intelligence, and ego. Then it comes actually, each one, if it's the growth, we have to see in the growth and how it is goes to the settled level. When you say the earth, Mother Earth is actually in the grossest form in that case. And it is that the earth, water is 10 times actually bigger than the gross earth. Then it's also further, it's becoming more settled. And then the fire comes, then water, air comes, then ether comes. Each layer is 10 times. So a person, it's why it is mentioned Srimad Bhagavatam, a person is actually, by his devotional, he is actually coming out from all these layers of it, all this thickness of the layers of it. Then he really comes to, from his gross level, he comes to the subtle, and then he comes to the spiritual level. That means that 3 types of bodies also one can have. That means one is the gross body. Then, of course, we have the subtle body also with it. And then we actually, once we come out of this gross and subtle layer of it, then we comes to the real spiritual body. That's what is, all these processes are for that one purpose. Any yogi does that. Anything that we come to our very spiritual identity or the spiritual. Only by that spiritual that we can enter into this spiritual realm. Otherwise, we are not qualified because we are on the gross or subtle level. So yes, it's a geometrical, of course, and Srimad Bhagavad explains that in a very, very detailed way. That's what it is in all these dhams mentioned about Mahesh Dham, Devi Dham. Devi Dham is actually this material world, and just above the material world, that Devi Dham is the Mahesh Dham, and then beyond that, Ayodhya Dham, and then it's actually come to the then it comes to the Swadadeep, and then Golok Vrindavan and Vaikuntha Dham, where Lord Vishnu resides, and innumerable planets. So when we come to that spiritual body, only that this all, that's what this all is for. That when it comes to the real spiritual identity, then only that one can really see this all, right? Otherwise, we are on the gross level, we cannot see it. So that's why this whole process is actually take us from this gross and subtle level to bring it to that spiritual bodily or spiritual level. That's our spiritual nature. That's our original identity. So these scriptures are transcendental science, actually. This is not ordinary text. So this great, I think that there is some Williamsworth or somebody like that. Initially, they started to read these our scriptures, especially Vedas and the Bhagavad Purana. They said these are all kind of, just speculations, or this some myths or some kind of stories. Somebody brought up some kind of stories. But this guy is actually again and started to read and meditate and try to understand in detail, in depth. Then the same person mentioned that this is just somebody, just some text. The same person said, no, that this is end up, this is the wisdom, this is the ocean of wisdom and the knowledge. That's what he said. So this only can understand from our mental speculation. We cannot understand this, but only by our spiritual, how much we can, come out from this our gross and subtle level of how much attachment and our anarthas, hearing, and that's where the mind takes us. Mind has different level even, and even we ask this question: what is his mind? Right? What is his mind even? This all comes to that. Knowledge. Krishna says, knowledge is come from me. A remembrance come from me, ignorance is come from me. So everything is coming to us is like how a little, like a baby comes into this, world. It's all coming from that. From that spiritual come to the various transformation is happening. But its reality is our original identity is our spiritual nature. But that has a realm, a spiritual realm, like if you go to heavenly planets, it's more on the subtle level. Actually, we get a body accordingly to subtle level. If you go to the subterranean planets, we are on the gross levels, and we get like kind of gross. The earthly planet is also both gross and subtle. So each dham, each planet you go, if you there is Prabhupada writes that even there are living entities in the sun planets. It's called fireflies. There are living entities are there, so they get accordingly the body like that. When you get into the spiritual, so we get the spiritual body accordingly, and we get the spirit. This is what is this entire Bhagavatam, Vrindavan. Krishna is pastimes. Ayodhya Dham, pastimes. Lord Ram, the Mahesha Dham, it's a pastime like that. So this Golok Vrindavan and Vaikuntha Dham, there is pastimes. These are all like various pastimes. But out of all this, that the ultimate of everything is actually in this Golok Vrindavan. That's where exactly the utmost or ultimate loving devotion to the Supreme is exhibiting there. So every realm that their own, the pastimes is there. Their own past. Ayodhya Dham, there is their own pastimes.
Hare
Like
Krishna, Prabhu.
yeah. Go ahead, please.
Prabhu, if I can share what Romapad Maharaj had instructed on this particular question, which Sudhakar Prabhu has. In one of his seminars, he had asked who would want to leave their body in Vrindavan. And most of the audience put their hand up, but myself and another devotee did not put our hand up. So Maharaj asked, you don't want to be in Vrindavan? So I said, no, Maharaj. So he says, why? So I said, Vrindavan is a state of consciousness, is my understanding, which is what my understanding is like what Sudhakar Prabhu has is the spiritual kingdom, internal. And in many lectures, I had heard that, Vrindavan is also a state of consciousness. Or for example, they say that the sadhus, they themselves are dham because their consciousness is fully absorbed in Krishna. Then Maharaj explained that there is this physical place.
Yep.
So spirituality is realized not just there is actual physical place. To Sudhakar Prabhu's question and what you and Krishna Namananada Prabhu said is the geometry. So, if you do Latin log is how we understand. So that way, as you said, these different levels, different planets, different material planets, and then it comes to spiritual planets with different grades and whatever. So there is this geometrical place, physical dimension. Now, spirituality is something which is beyond our material senses. But all the same, our material senses, intelligence, whatever we know, can be used to a certain level to understand. So we have this material contamination, and just as a thorn goes into your feet, you use another thorn to remove it out. So whatever is a material intelligence, a material study, mathematics, whatever, physics, geometry, algebra, to a certain extent can be used to get rid of our material contamination, provided we are in the shelter of, proper people and authority. So that, there is also a Hari Parshad Prabhu's email, which Maharaj then sent later on, pretty extensive, and we can share it. I can post it on the Nityam Bhagavad Sevaya group about this consciousness, Vrindavan consciousness, and physical Vrindavan, the similarities and the difference. So it's both. It's there within us, but there to reach that level is you have to be, not this Mishra Bhakti. And then there is the Dham, where even a rascal, if he goes there, he has the purification. Hare Krishna.
So I had to drop. Sorry. I
Yeah,
have another class.
that is. Thank you, Prabhuji. No problem. Yeah, I mean that's absolute.
Thank you.
That's what it is. I mean, Krishna. Krishna says that, right, in the Bhagavad Gita. Avajanati mamoda manushim dhanimasrudam parambhavajanando mama bhuta maheshwara. When I descend myself, see, that's why called avatar. Descend. That means coming down. Coming down. So that means from the spiritual realm, this Krishna is coming down. And also in the 12th canto, when Brahma, all demigods came to Krishna and said that, reminded that, the time is up now, you have to return. So immediately after that, just even Brahma couldn't even realize that. Krishna just, suddenly, it's a flash of second, that just disappeared. Just, it was all, like that. And Krishna says that, Naham Pragasha Sarvasya Yoga Maya. I do not manifest to the unintelligent and foolish. I covered by internal potency that they do not me that I am the Supreme. So the Lord is completely spiritual and he comes down. So like that, that's why the entire our scriptures are based on these aspects of it. So that means, Krishna is, there is a realm, there is Vrindavan, there is Gologata, there is innumerable planets. But, since we are on the grooves and the settle and we are struggling here, even to come out of our mental contortions, it's not that easy. But by our devotion and our sincere desire to engage in the devotional service, this is the way which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that Chedo Darpanam, we cleanse our heart. Then we can see ourselves and we can see all this gradually, and then we can, have darshan of the Lord in the purport Krishna Namananada Prabhu explained. Yeah. So I think it's Sadagar Krishna Prabhu. I think is it clear or is it still?
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhuji. Yeah, I think it is clear now, Prabhuji. Yeah. So I mean, with the material senses, material mind, it's we can't comprehend.
We can comprehend.
If we try to do that's not possible. Right?
It is not possible.
Yeah. So
just think about it. Just for an example, I was thinking today actually when I was reading this book, I was thinking about one of my relative had a baby. And this baby, I mean, is coming into this world like little tiny, and it's even initially we cannot even see that in the body. Even one little sperm is thousands of thousands is so tiny like that. But this little tiny, that little sperms have the egg, whatever it is, it has such every quality it has. That means it is a reality, it's the truth. And that's coming, and then that's getting growing, and then it's transforming. I was thinking the same way. When you look at an egg, a chicken's egg, it's all kinds of water in it, something inside it. But after, when it's hatched and it comes out, the same water is becoming a feather. And the same inside, whatever that white or the yellow, whatever it is there, it's all becoming various part of the body. And that within that itself that the chicken has now, when chicken or came out as new, form of it, now it has all the senses are there, right? It is fighting each other, it's fought each other, that the fighting between the chickens or the roosters. So everything is within that, right? See that. So there is a realm, there is a beyond, there is a gross, there is a subtle level, there is a beyond, there is a level for it. So then we can go up to that only. From the gross and subtle, that's it. Our mind, senses, and intelligence, that's it. But that doesn't mean that we are just, that's it. But beyond that, that's what is even, we cannot even see our spirit soul, our soul, we cannot even see. And we cannot even count or cut or anything. Bhagavad Gita explains this the same thing. Cannot burn, it cannot cut anything. But that is the reality that is there. From everything transform from that spirits to that spiritual energy to that various forms according to whatever we decide for. But that spirit, when we come out of it, that spirit, it also has another nature. That's why, there are that's why, our scriptures are so deep. Even it is so Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj actually translated this Brahma Samhita. And in the first is actually is called the Goloka Vrindavan. It is considered as 1,000 petals. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj was saying that these 1,000 petals are actually not that 1,000 realms or 1,000 planes of various, in the spiritual realm itself. That's why some people ask why there is Ayodhya, why everything is one. No, there is another realm that which has its own nature. In other, right? If you go to an ocean, if you go to the deep ocean, it's a different nature there, and there are many things. But in the top of the ocean, it's a different, feeling. So like that. So we just covered in a nutshell within it. So, but we cannot comprehend, or we cannot. It's aprameya. That's why it's not us. Aprameya, or it's actually it cannot perceive through our material knowledge. Can only perceive and understand through our devotional experience. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Wonderful. Yeah, it's almost 9 o'clock, and we also have the our book distribution called Sankirtan call.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Yeah, but
Yeah. Thank you all. So let me stop the recording. Okay, thank you all for joining. Thank you so much, Krishna, on the wonderful class, wonderful discussions. Let's pay our obeisance to all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. Vajja kalpatarupasya.
Vaishnavibhyo namo namaha.
Jai Kaviraj.
Jai.
Bhutkida ki jai. Jai Ananda Kodi. Guru Premanande.
Hari Hari.
Hari Hari.
Thank you, Krishna.
Thank you.